What is going on, guys? Tom here again. So this will be my second video. So I did my channel introduction, which was actually a couple of months ago. Now starting to actually bring this channel alive, kind of sat on it for a while, thought about what I'm going to bring on here, what topics to talk about. So today I wanted to talk about the topic of are guitarists relying too much on gadgets and tech and, well, mainly pedals. I know all of us guitarists go down the road of using loads of pedals and kind of making that part of our sound. There are some great guitarists out there, like The Edge, for example, from U2, Tom Morello with his whammy. Most of their sound is from pedals. So I recently had a bit of a situation happen lately at a gig. Plugged in, support act had just cleared out of the way, plugged in, amp on, no sound. Probably a guitarist's worst nightmare. You've got a crowd that's kind of thinning out by the minute because people are thinking, oh, I have to wait. Oh, sod it. It was a Thursday night, it's not the busiest. But yeah, so no sound. And immediately it's, right, what's going on pedal board, pushing on things, sound was coming in, it was going again. So I'll show you. So this is my pedal board. By far not the most extreme pedal board you will see. It's only the Novo 24 by Pedal Train. There'll be a video coming out soon going over this in a bit more detail. But yeah, so somewhere on this pedal board of these, 11 if you include the switch up, possible points of issue. Maybe even the power could have gone wrong, so that's 12. And luckily I'd recently watched a Rhett Scholl video where he had said about his embarrassing gig experience that he had with one of his bands, where he ended up tearing the pedal board apart, throwing it all about before going, hold on, I should go straight into the amp. So luckily, after a couple of minutes of playing about with all the contacts, trying to push them in and out, push on the pedals, try and figure out which one's causing me problems, I just went, you know what, somebody grab me a guitar lead, I'm going straight into the amplifier. And if it wasn't for having this DSL 100, which sounded absolutely phenomenal, I don't think I would have been able to get through the gig. I'll post a short clip here of one of our songs so you can hear what that amp sounded like on its own. So, as you can hear, the amp sounded absolutely amazing on its own. Quite lucky that I've got that, but not everyone does, and that's the thing. When you've got a guitarist that uses a clean amp, or an amp that can only do clean, say a Fender, and they rely just on their pedal board, is that a detrimental thing? Should we be heavily relying on these pedals? I know one of my sounds I use for quite a lot of my band songs is the clean channel of the Marshall with the Little Big Muff by Electro Harmonics in front of it. It's the Little Big Muff sound. It sounds phenomenal. It's that grungy 90s, I know Big Muff's older than that, but it's sort of the 90s quintessential fuzzy big fat sound. So if I would have been using, say, my Bugera V55 that I've got, which is quite a clean amplifier, I probably wouldn't have been able to pull that gig off. I play in a rock band, so quite a lot of the songs are distorted, and the fact that I had the Marshall and was able to control how much distortion I had through the volume of the guitar, I was using just the Les Paul for this gig. I feel like that was quite a lucky thing to have. And should that be part of a guitarist's backup? Kind of, should they have the amp that can do everything, just in case their pedal board can't? Now, there are a lot of pedals nowadays, amping box pedals, great sounding drive pedals, great sounding distortion pedals, fuzzes, that a lot of people use for the core of their sound. And that presents an issue. If that pedal goes wrong, you've lost the core of your sound. Yeah, I understand it's great for cover guitarists. I still am one, but we're trying to cut back on it. And being able to go, right, that's my Nirvana sound, that's my Black Sabbath sound, that's Led Zepp, is great. It's great having all these pedals, doing all this stuff. But at the end of the day, if something goes wrong with it and you haven't got time to fix it, you're left with just the amp. And it's made me realise it's quite a sobering moment, to be honest, and realising that my pedals are a tool. They should never be any more than that. Maybe guitarists nowadays, even with this vast amount of pedals, and I'm guilty of it, as I said, maybe we should strip it back and make sure that the amp is the core of our sound, the guitar is the core of our sound, make sure even we can make a guitar sound good through any amp. And I've struggled with that. I've used amps in rehearsal studios and not been able to get a good sound out of them. Recent example of that, used an AC30 at a rehearsal studio, and I just didn't get on with it. And maybe people need to start thinking more about how they can get the best out of the bare basics. I mean, back in the 60s, yes, Hendrix had a fuzz face and a wah and that, but he could still make just a Marshall and a Strat sound good. He could make the bare minimum sound good. And guitarists back then, throughout the 70s as well, it was get your Les Paul, stick it through a Marshall, off you go. Maybe have one pedal, two pedals. And nowadays we're in an age of the expanding pedal board, where you see people with 20 or so pedals at their feet, or in their flight case that they then click a pedal and it does all jiggery pokery to get it working. So maybe it's a fault for everyone to go away and just think, can I get the sounds I need out of the amp? Because I found I could. And it kind of, I had people coming up to me at the end of the gig and saying, wow, that sounded amazing. Like, how did you get that sound? And I was like, it was a Les Paul and a good old Marshall half stack. I didn't have the right sounds. Like, my ear was going, oh no, I've not got the wah in that song, that doesn't sound right. Probably affected my playing, which it shouldn't have. That's not sounding right, I haven't got this effect there, I haven't got that effect there. But ultimately, I was still able to get through the gig. So, maybe all guitarists need is a good guitar and a good amp. If you got those, you're sorted. Have these pedals, but don't rely too heavily on them. Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, maybe suggest some things that you'd like to see in the future. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.